I felt I had no other choice, and there would be no college or career in my future.
I selfishly thought it was an inconvenient time for me to have a baby. I liked the life I was living, the job I had, and didn't want it to change.
And I was a frightened 19-year-old who had become pregnant by a married man.
I decided to get an abortion because I wanted an easy out. I wanted to save my reputation and not have to disappoint my parents or face the fact that I was pregnant and unmarried and that I had made a poor decision sleeping with a guy that I knew didn't really love me.
I decided to have an abortion because I was scared and I didn't feel I could raise a child by myself.
And I had an abortion because I was raped.
I remember driving down the street and thinking, this feels wrong that I'm driving to a clinic to kill my baby. But because it was legal, I thought it had to be okay.
It sounds almost noble, doesn't it? I exercised my legal right to choose. But let me finish the sentence more accurately. I exercised my legal right to choose to have my little baby daughter brutally murdered, her tiny body ripped apart while she snuggled safely in my womb.
During this time, I was held down by 2 nurses while another nurse inserted bamboo sticks into my cervix without anesthesia.
And you know what it's like to go ahead and watch a woman get liposuction with that nice little thing that gets jammed in her leg? Well, that's how it was, except something like that was going inside of me. And what happened was I saw and felt my baby being ripped apart.
Engraved in my soul is the sound of a vacuum and the smell of that death room as I was drugged and nodding off into oblivion.
I remember vividly the sucking sound of the machine and the intense pain and bleeding.
I lay there as parts were ripped from inside of me. I remember the sounds of the suction.
When I got on that cold table with those bright lights glaring down at me, I felt like if I was going to die.
As the procedure began, I started to dawn on me what I was really doing. I was taking a life. The doctor said, "Why are you crying?" He didn't understand that the emotional pain was more excruciating than the physical pain.
I felt as if my insides were ripped apart by a machine that I can still hear sometimes in the quiet of the night.
The suction abortion, you're awake for this thing, and it's just awful. It's just like your insides are being ripped out.
I saw the bottle next to my right foot fill up with the bloody remains of my baby.
When I woke up, I was bleeding terribly, in pain, ashamed, so empty and miserable. The abortion didn't relieve anything. In fact, it made me worse. There was no going back. This could never be undone.
Immediately after abortion, I felt tired, empty, sick. I didn't know what abortion was, nor did I care. But my body and soul knew it was wrong.
Afterwards, I knew what I had done was the wrong thing to do, but I justified it and pushed the guilt down inside me as far as I could.
I would wonder every day about my child, and then I would crawl into the shower, turn on the water, and try to drown away my pain and sorrow, hoping God would take away my life because I didn't deserve to live.
Immediately after the abortion, I felt cold and scared and alone, even though I was in a recovery room with probably 20 gurneys with other girls laying on them. I don't remember nurses even being in there. I just remember the weeping and the crying of the girls all wheeled into this big room and left there. I remember feeling like I wanted to talk to one of them about what had just happened, but we all just laid there silent until we were given orders to get dressed. We were all just children.
Because of the physical damage done to my uterus from the section curettage abortion, I had to have a hysterectomy 3 months later.
For 16 years, I was tormented with nightmares and intense suicidal tendencies.
My whole life was just like living in a cave, like I had no way out. I couldn't find the light. I hated myself. I sobbed all the time.
I stopped going to church, feeling that I didn't belong. I went from being a bright and energetic student to just getting through high school and not going on to college. My drive for life was gone.
And I lived in a prison of secret shame, pain, and regret.
My life spun out of control after that, with failed relationships, drugs, alcohol. I had 2 failed suicide attempts, one with where the gun jammed, and the other where 98 Haladols just, God had other plans for me, and for some reason something that would kill most anybody didn't kill me.
I finally found my way back to wholeness, starting with the Rachel's Vineyard weekend in New Jersey 10 years ago.
Through the experience of God's unconditional love, acceptance, forgiveness, and mercy, and by attending Lumina, Rachel's Vineyard, and a PACE Bible study, I was finally able to let go of the shame, fear, anger, and sadness that imprisoned my heart for so many years.
There is life after death, that you can come from the prison of pain, shame, and regret, and here I live for it, and that is why I am silent no more. Praise God.